Hey guys, good morning. Welcome into the Steven Singer Studios, which today is my Nissan Murano. I know, humble brag. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. I'm Marc Farzetta here on the Farzy Show. Appreciate you joining us here. So I'm in my car because we went down to Maryland. Yes, we went to Steak and Maine for lunch. It was amazing, per usual. Yes, I had another 2-pound steak and enjoyed every damn minute of it. And I am at my brother-in-law's right now. So we came down here, my wife, Lil Toots, and we just had a little family get-together with my wife's side of the family. And we had a blast. We went to a pool all day yesterday. I guess my sister-in-law, her family has a nice little pool down here. So we took Lil Toots out to the pool. She hated the water to begin with. Loved it by the time we left and did not want to leave by the time we left. So we had to deal with a little terror by that point, but it was an awesome time. She was swimming around the water. It was just absolutely incredible. And it's like, becoming a dad, you really cherish the holidays. And we certainly cherished yesterday. I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. If you guys did fireworks, hope you enjoyed the fireworks. If you put on your own fireworks display, I hope you enjoyed it safely. And I hope you guys enjoyed the heck out of your 4th of July weekend. And hopefully some of you are still enjoying it right now. I'm actually hoping that some of our viewership is down today simply because I want people just being out and about enjoying the fine day that is today. And we got a lot to catch up on. So here's what we got for you today. I got some typical nonsense that I usually start off the show with, my own personal opinions on everything that's happened. We're actually going to move our morning rush up into this opening segment. And if you watched our kayak show from a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, then this will be more of an abbreviated show. But we do have a guest today. Our guest is Zach Berman from The Athletic, because we got training camp just a couple of weeks away. Later this month, training camp happens for the Philadelphia Eagles. So Zach Berman is going to help get us caught up on all things Philadelphia Eagles. So that's exciting. So we'll do that. But in the meantime, here's what we got going on right now. The fact of the matter is the Phillies, I can't believe it, but the Phillies took 2 of 3 from the San Diego Padres. That's baseball, right? They can't beat the Mets. They can barely get by them in a game in that 3-game series. Then they struggle in the series following that. And then, of course, they got the Padres coming in, one of the best teams in baseball, best lineups in baseball, and they actually take 2 of 3 for them, which is absolutely incredible. Yesterday's game, ugly. Friday's game, interesting in that they blew yet another save. And I think, although it was on the negative side, it was one of Tom McCarthy's best calls yet, since he has taken over the play-by-play reins for over a decade now for the Philadelphia Phillies. The fact that he highlighted that it was 8 blown saves in our last 9 games, and the exclamation point he put on that to highlight that, I thought was a great job by a home broadcaster to basically just say what we were all thinking already. So kudos to Tom McCarthy for that call. Not kudos to the bullpen yet again. Now we know Feliz has gotten DFA'd. Suarez certainly had his struggles, blew the save, ended up getting the win Friday. But over the course of the weekend, you saw a monster home run from Bryce Harper. You saw Rhys Hoskins go deep again. You saw JT Realmuto go deep yesterday for his only home run of the ball, or for the only run of the ball game. But you basically just saw a very interesting Phillies weekend. They gave you yet another blown save, a win you could feel good about on Saturday, and then yesterday's loss, unfortunately. But you now have 2 All-Stars on this team, which is a little surprising considering JT Realmuto's missed time. He got named to another All-Star appearance. And you got Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, you obviously expected. He's had an incredible season. He's been the ace of your staff. He's been your best pitcher on this staff, no doubt about that. But JT Realmuto was a little surprised. Reputation, I guess, is what got him in. I think we can all agree with that. Reputation is what got JT Realmuto into the All-Star game this year. But it's good to see at least that you got 2 All-Stars for a season that has not exactly gone as good or as well as people thought it might. I thought the Phillies would be better than where they're at right now, but they're still flirting with that 500. So I guess we can still enjoy that. I do want to get into this. This is a great thing. Before we get into the Eagles, I want to mention this. Jason Kelce. It looks like, according to reports, or a report, his banner is going to be going up at Lincoln Financial Field in place of Carson Wentz's banner at Lincoln Financial Field. I can't think of anyone that would be better. I mean, it's not going to be Jalen Hurts. You're not going to go right to him. I mean, your head coach won't even acknowledge the fact that he's the starting quarterback yet. And then you have who else on your offense you're really going to go to? Nobody jumps to mind. Defensively speaking, Malcolm Jenkins might be the only person that you would have go up there, but obviously he's not here anymore. He's gone. So really the only person that really makes sense is Jason Kelce. So I think that's the right call by the Eagles. I know this is something that is usually one of those things that's outside the box and people might, oh, how can they put that guy up there? It should be this guy. Yeah, this is it. Especially when the guy was just chugging beers with people down Sea Isle. So I think there's no better person to put up there on the side of Lincoln Financial Field than Jason Kelce. I have to get to this. I'm enjoying the heck out of just kind of being away for a little bit. I watched, not only read about, but watched the virtual tour of Ben Simmons' new home in Los Angeles, in Southern California. I watched it. It was like 20 minutes. And I was looking for one thing in particular. And Ben doesn't live there yet, so I can't put this on him, right? There's no basketball hoop. I hope the first of all the things they have at this $17.5 million mansion outside LA, of all the things they have, like 2 lap pools, it looked like 2 lanes in a lap pool, a beautiful guest house that's obviously nicer than my house, an awesome pool house, which is also better than my house, and this amazing like espresso bar in the bedroom, or an area for a Nespresso, I think is what they said. Of all that stuff, all that's cool, all that's great. They have a stove that's just built into a countertop, like it's 4 burners in a row, not like in like what quad form. I don't know. That's just built into a countertop that looks extremely unsafe. But anyway, it's got that. It's got a little backsplash that rises up out of the counter. It's got that. It doesn't have? It doesn't have a basketball hoop. So I'll tell you what, this is the one off-season video I want to see from Ben Simmons. I want to see him installing a basketball hoop in his driveway, like anybody in America would have. So I hope we see that at least. $17.5 million. Not even a basketball hoop on the premises. So yeah, I just want to see that first video of Ben just like, I'm installing a basketball hoop now, and then shooting around and having himself a good time. So let's hope that happens. What else I want to get to today? Oh, we have the NBA Finals. They're locked up. This is our morning rush, by the way, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. We have our NBA Finals set. The Phoenix Suns are taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Phoenix Suns haven't been to the finals since Jordan assisted John Paxson on the game-winning shot against the Suns in 1993 against Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson, and Thunder Dan Marley. Not just of NBA fame, but rock and jock fame for those of my generation. That's set. Giannis, we'll see if he's back and whatever. They haven't been to the finals since 1974 when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was playing for the team. And the Suns, of course, have never won an NBA title. So we'll be watching for that. I'm excited to watch Chris Paul. I'm excited to watch Chris Paul attempt to win his first finals or go to his first finals ever and maybe win his first finals. I also want to see, as everybody else, if Giannis is going to play in the finals, because that would really make the difference as far as how exciting this series can be. But I'm interested in this. Drew Holiday is playing for the Bucks. He's been a huge difference maker for the Bucks this year. Chris Paul, obviously another point guard, is the difference maker for the Phoenix Suns. So that's an interesting little tie there. And then on top of this, Drew Holiday being traded away is the beginning of the process. Him getting traded to the Pelicans is the beginning of the process, because the first time you traded away something for future assets, as we all know. What he ended up being traded for was Dario Saric, who obviously is on the Phoenix Suns. So another Philadelphia tie in there. We obviously already know Monty Williams and all that stuff. But I was just thinking about it, going over the rosters the other day, and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that. I didn't think about that until now, and here we are. So I look forward to at least watching the finals that start tomorrow night. Shout out to Team Italy for beating Belgium. One of the craziest things I saw, I started following this thing on the Euro, on the Italian soccer club, football club, and it was a Belgium lady in a Belgium jersey making pasta by breaking it in half first and throwing it in the pot. And then she put fries on top of it with mayonnaise. And then I think she put another type of pasta on top of the pasta, which you just don't do. And she just stared at the camera as if to taunt the actual Italian people before they played them. And I was like, that's not going to be a good omen for them. And sure enough, it wasn't, because the Italians won. So they play Spain on tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Without further adu, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you first about Steven Singer Jewelers here at the Steven Singer Studios. Steven Singer, he knows that finding the person that you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with, that's the easy part. Buying a diamond ring, that can be difficult for a lot of people. Not at Steven Singer. That's why people say, I hate Steven Singer, because he takes all the excuses out of the book, saying it's too difficult to buy a diamond, it's too expensive to buy a diamond, I can't do that yet. Not at Steven Singer Jewelers, because every single time is the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia. Steven takes care of you with his real team of jewelry experts that are standing by to help explain everything to you and make this process as painless as possible, where, again, you take away all the excuses. Go to Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. No excuses. He makes it easy right there every single day, set at the perfect price. No hassling, no negotiating, nothing like that. You don't got to worry about how good your negotiating skills are. You just got to worry about what kind of diamond you want to buy for that special someone in your life. So go ahead and check it out. IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping, and every day the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. All right, let's get to our good friend Zach Berman. Let's talk some Philadelphia Eagles football, because it's coming up just a couple of weeks. Training camp just around the corner. So joining us here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, our good friend from The Athletic, Zach Berman. And joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, our good friend from The Athletic, Mr. Zach Berman, joins us. What's going on, Zach?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And on a personal note, you're putting me to shame, man. You look like a damn track star. Are you getting ready for the Olympics? What's going on here?
I would love to go to Tokyo at some point, but I'm not getting ready for the Olympics. I'm getting ready for training camp, which will be a sprint within itself.
Well put. Well put. Zach, also the author of a fine book called Underdogs, about the Eagles' journey to their Super Bowl victory. Zach, I'll start off with this, because it's probably the most pressing thing right now. There was a report, it came from Merrill Reese himself, actually, that we're getting closer and closer to this Zach Ertz deal, that there's one possibly on the table with the Buffalo Bills. What's the latest you have heard when it comes to possibly dealing Zach Ertz?
Well, so I'm careful with the Ertz discussion, because if we spoke, it's what, July 2nd today? If we spoke on January 2nd, I would say, yeah, they'll probably get this wrapped up by free agency. And if we spoke on April 2nd, I would say they'll get this wrapped up by the draft. And if we spoke on May 2nd, I'm like, well, once June 1st passes and, financially it makes it, they'll get it wrapped up. So I am staying out of the Zach Ertz trade prediction business. I have a hard time seeing Zach Ertz back in an Eagles uniform. So I think it's at this point, it makes sense for both sides. It's just a matter of, are you going to find a trade partner? Are you going to find the price that you want? Clearly, you're not going to get the price that you imagined getting back in January or March. Otherwise, this deal would have been done. It would have been done before the draft if it could have been worked out in a way where, you got the price you wanted. So I can't tell you specifically when it's going to happen, but what I can say is that I don't believe he'll be with the Eagles. And I think whenever that trade comes, Eagles fans should kind of take a moment to appreciate what Zach Ertz was over this past decade, because it's been this long goodbye, right? He had that tearful press conference, and it was genuine, it was heartfelt at the end of the year. And now it's getting to a point where we're in the month that training camp begins, and he's still technically on the Eagles payroll. So I'm curious to see what the resolution is. I just don't think it'll be with the Eagles.
I like that analogy, the long goodbye. Like you guys are going, right? Like it's over. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting to say that, because here was my take on it. I kind of feel like nothing's really changed. As you so eloquently stated, it's been this progression of like, okay, if he's not going by now, he's going to go on by then. If he's not going by then, he'll be going by now. And I just feel like all these teams, especially after the draft and through a lot of the free agency, they have their payment down. They're saying, hey, Eagles, this is what we're willing to give you. Take it or leave it. I don't see anything really changing, especially since the NFL draft has already happened. Do you kind of see it that same way as well, where these teams have already put in their bid and it's up to the Eagles whether or not they're going to take that offer?
Yes and no. I see your point, but from the Eagles' perspective, things certainly change as camp approaches, as teams look at their depth charts. I mean, if they wanted to hold him through training camp, I don't know if that's the best idea. But sometimes you see, like, you can stay away while we figure out a trade here. A tight end goes down somewhere else, and all of a sudden there's more of a need. So the fact that June 1st passed, there's not really that clear deadline unless you're getting to a point where the Eagles are trying to open up that cap space to sign a corner or for another move they need to facilitate. So I agree in the sense that I don't think a team all of a sudden is going to be like, all right, we're going to give you the pick you wanted, right? But there could be a player for player situations. Teams could reassess their depth charts. So that's the dynamic part of it, that, you know, the rosters aren't static, players aren't static. So things can change in that regard. And you saw that. I mean, this isn't an apples for apples comparison, but you saw that obviously with Sam Bradford in 2016. Teddy Bridgewater goes down, and all of a sudden a first round pick is on the table.
You mentioned the sort of the extenuating circumstances is kind of what we get into there, and you're absolutely right about that. Now, you mentioned Zach Ertz in an Eagles uniform. Let's talk about the rest of the Eagles right now. When will they be in that other uniform that people, for whatever reason, I am with these people. I love the Kelly green jersey. I want that back and all that. But it's funny, they win a Super Bowl in the midnight green. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Still Kelly green. People still want that. When do you think that will actually happen with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Sure. So, well, the last conversation that I ever had with Jeffrey Lurie about this, or the last, discussion, if you will, was at the owners' meetings, I think 2-3 years ago, when he said that they want it, but they want it as an alternate jersey, which is understandable, and they need to have that helmet rule change. So that helmet rule change, it goes into effect. And when I say the helmet rule, for the listeners or viewers rather who aren't familiar with it, the league had a rule that you have to have the same helmet all year. So the Eagles didn't want a situation where they had a Kelly green uniform and a midnight green helmet, right? It would. I'm not a fashion guy, as you can tell, but that would probably clash. So the rule changed that starting in 2022, teams can now have alternate helmets, and so one would think that would be the pathway to the Kelly green in 2022. It wouldn't be a full-time thing, or at least not that I've heard of. I haven't heard that the Eagles want to go back to Kelly green full-time. The indications that I got, and again, this is 2-3 years ago, was that they are viewing it as an alternate jersey. And as an alternate jersey, it certainly makes sense. You pull it out for a big game like they do with the black jerseys, that type of thing.
I'm all for that. If we don't have another blackout for the rest of my life, I'm totally fine with that. The Kelly green as an alternate, I think, is perfect for this team. I do want to ask you about some other news that could affect the NFL, obviously, with the NCAA changing their rules, their guidelines for players being allowed to make money. Do you think in the long run, or even in the short run, is this something that helps or hurts the competition at the NCAA level?
That's a really good question, and it's one that I've thought about this topic for a long time, because I used to cover college football and college basketball, and I haven't necessarily thought about it in the sense of will it help or hurt competition. I think it will certainly help college athletes, right? Like I think they should be able to profit off their name and their likeness. There are complicating factors here, or I should say unintended consequences that will come out of this. And it's uncharted territory, and it's beyond my scope to say, like, this is going to help this school or that you're going to create the haves and the have-nots. I mean, certainly there's, schools that are more prominent, players that are more prominent are going to benefit. If you're on TV every Saturday, then clearly there's going to be more demand for your name and your likeness than someone who's not on TV. I'm not an expert, but I imagine that will be the case. That said, I couldn't tell you if this have and have-nots will be even more pronounced, but I certainly think that it'll change from the NFL's perspective, I think it'll probably change the pathway that a player takes, maybe the relationship with the agent early on, the connection with the agent early on, who knows? But there's certainly things to monitor in that regard.
No, I think that's well said. I want to go back to the Eagles as far as this specific thing goes. If I would have told you a year ago that Jason Kelce was going to be at a bar high-fiving people, shotgunning beers, chugging beers, serving beers, everything he was doing down the OD down Sea Isle, you probably would have told me I'm crazy. And for multiple reasons. One, who would do that? Well, Jason Kelce, I guess, would do that. And the other, what about the pandemic? I feel like the end of the worry, at least for us locally, has come with Jason Kelce high-fiving and chugging beers with people in Sea Isle.
Yeah, so as you were asking the question, I was saying, like, it doesn't surprise me if you told me Jason Kelce would be chugging beers and high-fiving people in Sea Isle. Like, that's Jason Kelce's personality, and that's what people love about him, right? Now, certainly the end of the pandemic, I didn't think of it in that context, but absolutely right? Like, people are – I mean, I don't want to say the end of the pandemic because
sure.
I know there's still people dealing with this, but yeah, I mean, the fact that Jason Kelce is at a bar in Sea Isle with Eagles fans is a great sight, and it shows what's endearing about Kelce. It was an outstanding cause for the Eagles Autism Foundation, or the initiative there, and yeah, it's what, you know. I said people should appreciate Zach Ertz, right? That same conversation could be applied to Jason Kelce, because you know there are a lot of players who come through this town, and very few develop the organic bond with the fan base that Jason Kelce has, and he lives here year round. He's going to, I don't want to speak for him, but my understanding is he's going to stay in this area even after he retires. So he's very much a part of the fabric of the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, no, next time I talk to Jason Kelce, I'll make sure if it's after his career. No, Zach Berman said you weren't moving. So
yeah, exactly.
Last thing on as far as this current Eagles team right now, Jalen Hurts, this is his first offseason, kind of knowing, but not actually knowing, but kind of knowing that he's going to be the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He goes through the workouts, both with the team and away from the team, organizing his own thing going on. What are you making of whatever you can make of this offseason with Jalen Hurts?
Well, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, I would say the intangibles, the leadership qualities, you've never had to worry about them. That wasn't the issue when they drafted him, and it's certainly those qualities have been even more fortified, if you will, since he's been here, right? The when you talk to people about him, that's something that you hear consistently. The questions that I have, and I personally think they're legitimate questions, are: Is his play? Can he be a high caliber quarterback on the field? Like, can he be one of the top of the league quarterbacks? Is he the type of player you can build around that you can win with? Or is he more of a middle of the pack, lower pack quarterback? And that won't be determined based on the offseason workouts. That will be determined when the pass rush comes in, and when he has to hit receivers constantly, and bringing that completion percentage up, things of that nature. And perhaps it's something he does exceedingly well this year, and he is the guy going forward. But I don't read too much into the way he's conducted himself this offseason, because I would expect that. Like, that's what you're getting with Jalen Hurts. You're getting that type of personality. You're getting that type of player. There should be zero concern for Eagles fans. And I know from the Eagles' perspective about the quality of the person, the quality of the leader. Questions are what happens on the field.
Okay, sounds good. I do want to run this by you real quick. It is a you probably saw this by ESPN. Bottom 5 NFL rosters. Eagles right there at number 29. Jacksonville at 28. Eagles at 29. Jets right there at 30. So they're sandwiched between two teams that obviously are known for not being very good, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. What would your response to be to the Eagles being that low on their ranking?
I would say that if they're healthy on the offensive lines and the defensive lines, they're going to be better than people think. I don't think this is a particularly good roster when you look at it relative to what it's been in the past and relative to some other teams. But I also subscribe to the belief that like not every position is created equal, right? And that if you are strong on the lines of scrimmage, and if you look at where the Eagles pay their money, right, it's the lines of scrimmage, and they are strong there. if those players are healthy. They're relying on older players who have injury histories like Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks. But when those players are on the field, they are elite level players. And if they remain elite level on the offensive line and with the talent they have on the defensive line, then I think they're going to be a competitive team. Now that doesn't mean a Super Bowl competitive team, but it could certainly mean, 7-8 wins. Now, if those players get hurt, I don't think they have enough talent elsewhere on the roster to compensate for it. So that's the big question. But I think when I look at the overall talent on the roster, I would give them a bump because of the quality of offensive linemen and defensive linemen they have. And you saw it with Washington last year, for instance. Washington won the division, albeit not with a winning record, right? But they had the best defensive line in the NFC East, and that helped them win the division, even with the lack of quarterbacks, like the lack of skill players. I really think that not enough attention is paid to the lines of scrimmage.
Zach, as I always like to do, let's get the work out of the way. It's out of the way, enough football. So Ben Simmons, man, what are we doing here? Is Ben? Do you expect Ben to be back with the Sixers? Do you expect a better version of him if he's back with the Sixers, or do you expect him to be traded? What do you see happening in the future for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, so I've watched a lot of Ben Simmons over the years here, and I've always thought like what he does, it's hard to teach, right? First off, the size, the athleticism, the way he can handle the ball at the size, the way he can play defense. People talk about the lack of the lack of a perimeter shot, but the way he creates perimeter shots for other players that is so valuable. Mm-hmm. That said, like I saw what happened in the series too, and I know from covering sports when things happen like that, it can be hard to run it back. So I obviously have no insider information here, but I think it'll be hard to run it back given the context of what happened. Who knows? There are situations where you bring it back, but I need to think there's going to be more of a market for him when the dust settles here than the reputation might be at the end of in the playoffs, because there are few players in the league who can do what he does, and I know the last memory is the lasting memory, but I think overall I would be surprised if they can't get an attractive package for him.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. I'm of the school. I am not giving Ben Simmons away. I know other people are like, oh, get him off.
I wouldn't either. Exactly.
If you're telling me Dame Lillard, let's party. If you're telling me CJ McCollum, hey, we can have a conversation. If you're telling me Zach LaVine, let's have a conversation. But other than that, there's not a lot out there that I'd say, oh, yeah, slam dunk deal. I'm making sure that happens. I would still rather see Ben come back and roll the dice on him being more valuable, being that the last memory is not the lasting one, as you said. But I'm not just pushing him off saying, yeah, forget about it. I don't want him here anymore. It's got to be something good.
I agree with you there. Although I do think that if the situation arises where he comes back, the role must change, right? I
Sure.
think that the primary ball handler, I think that's something that must change. And what you're seeing when I was going to say when you watch these playoffs, you don't see any of the stars out there anymore, right?
Yeah, right.
But that type of point guard can do for a team, I think that would be extraordinarily valuable. And so I certainly think more ball handling and a different primary ball handler would benefit the Sixers.
Zach Berman from The Athletic. Make sure you read his stuff always and follow him at ZBerm on Twitter, and also buy his book if you haven't already, Underdogs. It is a fantastic book chronicling all the great stuff that happened on the Eagles Super Bowl run just a couple of years ago. Zach Berman, thank you so much. Enjoy your 4th of July, my friend. Much appreciated.
Same to you. Thank you.
Zach Berman joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. My thanks once again to Zach Berman for joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. We recorded that on Friday. I told Zach if anything changed, like if Zach Ertz got traded, Jalen Hurts got named the starter, or just anything weird happened, I'd be like, hey, we'll edit out anything that says, anything to the contrary. And he goes, if Zach Ertz gets traded, I think there's going to be a Royal Rumble at the NovaCare complex between writers and the Eagles brass for doing it over a holiday weekend. But anyway, my thanks to Zach Berman. Hey, while we were running that interview, I saw 2 foxes. I'm out in the suburbs here, and I don't really see a lot of wildlife living in Philadelphia. Well, I see wildlife, just not, animals. But people live in wild lives. But I just saw like 2 foxes that I thought were dogs. They were that ginormous, and they just trotted past me. Other than that, just other people walking their actual dogs and people enjoying a nice little stroll here in the burbs. Anyway, my thanks once again to they were Craig, yes, they were real foxes. But my thanks again to Zach Berman. I do want to tell you a little bit more about our friends at Rothman Orthopaedics, because when you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you have the confidence that you can get back past the pain and back to what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrthopaedics.com. That's Rothman Orthopaedics. Go to RothmanOrtho.com. RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner for the Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. So how about that? How about steak and Maine? I'm telling you, I walked in the door on Friday afternoon, sat down, had a little toots with me, right? Sat down, had my wife with me, of course, actual toots. And we sat down and we were just treated like kings. This place is, and queens and a princess. It was great, as it always is. I had the 2-pound steak again. I got the Eagles roll this time, which is the delicious sushi roll they have there. And of course, I had my steak with a nice Pinot Noir. It was fantastic. So make sure you check out Steak and Man in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Cooking Channel and the Travel Channel. And I think they know a thing or two about steaks. They also have great burgers. They just have great food in general. They got the world-class oyster bar as well. They got a steakhouse. They got a regular bar. And then they got a nice dining area for you to have dinner in as well. It is a great time at Steak and Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Check them out for yourself at steakandmaine.com. Always enjoy. How about our friends at FanUp? I had some challenges coming before the weekend really kicked off here. FanUp, Philly fans, if you want to be a shot caller, if you want to be a big baller like Diddy talked about, you know what? You need to make sure you're enjoying the fine FanUp app. You can download the app right now from the App Store. Get 2,000 bonus points right out of the gate when you use promo code FanUp. And you can challenge me in different challenges throughout the week, because the days of playing fantasy sports alone, they're over. You're going to have a lot of fun on this app. Challenge your friends. You can challenge me. You can rise on their leaderboard by answering fun questions, enter their weekly contest. They got daily prizes as well. You can win real brand prizes from FanUp. That's what makes it so much fun. You can win points. You can win cash. You can win brand prizes. When you fill out your profile, they see what you're after, and you get things considered there for your brand prizes. So make sure you download the FanUp app right now in the App Store. Use promo code FanUp. That's right. Use promo code FanUp. FanUp, just be fans. And how about our good friends over there at PHLSportsNation.com? They actually had the report there of the Jason Kelce banner being up there at Lincoln Financial Field. Check out our friends over at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across all blogs, social media, and others. PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. We did our morning rush earlier in the show, so we're going to jump right into our social media check-in. Now it's starting to pick up a little bit here that people see that I'm actually on. So good to see you guys. Thanks for joining the show today. We do appreciate it. Let's start it out here with Andrew, who was our first commenter, saying good morning, Farzy. Hardest working dude in the biz. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Congrats on 1,000. I appreciate that. What else? We had Julian's checking in, saying putting in overtime. Yeah, I guess. Thanks for doing it. My pleasure. You kidding me? Happy 4th to you, Julian. It's much appreciated. Craig's checking in. Happy 4th to you. I responded to Craig by saying America. And he goes, I'm surprised you didn't say Maryland or Italy. Craig, were you the guy that was saying I was going to move to Maryland? That ain't happening. Love my family down here. My own family. My wife's family's cool. Love them. I'm just not a Maryland guy. Lived here when I was a kid lived in Maryland proper for 10 months. Yeah, I went to first grade here. Sacred Heart of Mary in Dundalk. School's no longer around. But anyway, do appreciate you guys checking in. And yeah, I'll talk about Italy again. That's fine. Going to the they're in the Euro Sunday or Tuesday. They play Spain. Let's see, what do we got here? Craig, don't lie to us. Real foxes, Craig. Real foxes. Happy 4th to the foxes. Happy 4th, Don. What's going on, Don? Appreciate you, brother. Happy 4th to you as well. I'm losing. Here we go. By the way, I need someone to explain to me why we don't like sealskin. I think we don't like sealski because in all honesty, this is now doing this without Dan Schwartz in the chat today. I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I think the not liking Mike Sealski bit started because I was making fun of people that just don't like Mike Sealski for his honesty, particularly Flyers fans. And I'm a Flyers fan. People are like, "Oh, you're a Sports Talk Radio. I'm talking about the Flyers." And when I was in Sports Talk Radio, I talked about the Flyers. But for whatever reason, that audience, Sports Talk Radio and hockey just don't mix. So it's just bad listenership, unfortunately. So I referenced that on the show and talked about how people hate Sealski. And then I think we just, as a chat, started hating Mike Sealski. So I think that's why it is. I don't know. Taylor saying Farzy didn't think he'd be on today. Well, here I am. Good morning. Craig, went to YouTube to get a kid's show for my daughter and found you. Oh, hello, Taylor, and sorry to your kid for not being able to watch the kids show. They're watching me. Do they like the Wiggles? Do they like Paw Patrol? What are they? I'll sing a song from the Wiggles if you need me to. Anyway, I'm happy. She's mortified. Taylor, I apologize to your sweet daughter. Hi, sweet daughter of Taylor. Thanks for catching the show today. Happy 4th to you. Yeah, he's your friend. Can't take your word for it. Sorry. Who, Sealski? Sealski's my boy. Actually, I'm probably his boy. Anyway, love that guy. That's our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. I do appreciate the people that jumped on. If you missed the Zach Berman interview, here's a good thing about doing the show at 6 a.m. It's available the rest of the day. And I very much doubt it on this fine Monday. Anything's going to change between now and, let's say, 6 p.m. anyway. Tomorrow, we hope to have Hugh Lamont Douglas III on once again, of course, because it'll be a fine Tuesday morning. And I do want to see if we are going to have that special guest that I mentioned last week. Hugh will join us. I'm sure of it. But I'll double check later today just to make sure, because it's a holiday and I want to make sure he's not like traveling back somewhere. And then we're supposed to have another special guest tomorrow as well. So hopefully that does happen. That's the show today, folks. I appreciate you guys hopping on and joining me for the past 40 minutes or so here. I hope you enjoyed the Zach Berman interview. Again, if you didn't get a chance to see it, it's available as per usual, as it's always available for your download consumption. Herman's is not the special guest. He's not the special guest, I can tell you that much. Appreciate you guys catching the show today. Appreciate you guys waking up with me. If today is a normal day for you, first off, that sucks. I'm sorry. I'll be driving back to Philly a little bit later today. But if today's a normal day for you, I hope you have a great day back in the swing of things after 4th of July weekend. And I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning as well. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for waking up with me. I do appreciate it very much. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And thanks for joining me here at the Steven Singer Studios, which is today my Nissan Murano. I don't want to brag, but yeah, I drive a Murano. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm Marc Farzetta. Thanks for joining me here at the Steven Singer Studios. We'll go catch up with you guys on Monday, on Tuesday. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Take it easy.